You got the most beautiful voice of
Sexy.
everyone here.
Yeah.
No, lies, man. Lies. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
You current affairs. You can tell us about current affairs. You can make bad things sound good.
and in other news, the Rand falls.
Hit us up, bro.
Lucky guys, welcome back to another episode of How's Life, the podcast with myself, Themba Robin, and Bouwer Bosch.
Yep, good to be here. Episode 2. First episode was fun.
Yeah, not bad.
The feedback's lekker. Obviously, room for improvement. We took your notes and we haven't applied them yet. But we'll do it on the next episode. But anyway, this episode has a guest. And big legend, international star, all the way from Tata.
Yeah,
Yes.
Imported.
Imported. I think he's a model. He's a father. He's a role model. And he's an incredible creative genius and just an all-round mensch.
Should we do a drum roll?
Yep.
Thank you.
Ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen, Donovan Goliath.
Insert. Yeah.
We'll get a button
Thank
for
you.
that.
That is funny.
This is nice, guys. I'm very, very, very like I feel honored.
Okay, man.
I feel honored to be here.
Pressure is on now.
We're honored to have you here for our second episode. So I think we're going to kick things off. We chatted briefly. We had a bit of a game plan for the episode, and we wanted to talk a little bit about highs and lows.
Yes.
No,
Let's
the podcast.
show
I mean, the
people.
podcast show is called How's Life.
Yeah.
So the idea is to like tap into like how's life with you, ups and downs.
Yep.
If you want to share a low, hit us with the low. If you want to share a high, hit us up. And then we're just gonna. I mean, we're almost psychologists. We downloaded the form, so we're gonna weigh in on each other's lives.
Don't have that couch, that fancy psychologist
Yes.
couch. But
Yet.
We'll
Thank
get
you for
one.
our sponsor, Choreographed. You're welcome. Next week.
Nice.
Okay, Donovan, sorry. How's life?
Life is very good. I am expecting a little one soon, and it's interesting because we've been you're given like a date, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. You work towards that, and then you realize, hey, wait, this thing might come sooner, and there's a lot that you have. Hey, not this thing. This baby might. This baby will come sooner, so there's a lot that you have to prep for, but. What's been great is seeing the excitement on my firstborn's face. So I'm having another girl, and that's incredibly exciting. So yeah, full on girl dad, let's go. I'm super ready. And then, yeah, I mean, gosh, I'll jump into a low immediately. Are we jumping into lows or are we all sharing highs first?
Let's do highs. All right.
Let's do highs all right.
And
Okay.
then end the segment with
Yes.
the
So
saddest.
that's where I am.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
The high. I want to say something. I want to compliment you on your high. You're becoming a second dad again.
Yes.
You've got the amazing dad bod. You don't look like, because we're both dads.
Really?
And
We dad bodding.
We
Okay. Well, I'm jealous.
You just got dad going. We got dad bod going.
I'm trying to be cool dad.
What's your how do you stay in shape with your life being so insanely busy?
Ironically, that's going to be my low that I'm going to speak about a little bit later.
Oh, no carbs.
There
No
we go.
carbs, Yanks. I got
That's
it.
going to be my low. But yeah, I've never been a big dude. I always try and stay. I like clothes. I like nice fitting things. So I'm just like, okay, what's my range here? I need to stay within this range so I
32.
can look.
Stay within the 30
See
or
what I'm
32.
saying?
We
Gotta
lost
stay
32
there.
many years ago, man. We are now 34, 36.
The people at the shop, when you go there, you're like, I'm a 34. They even look at you and go, no, you're 40.
You're not
Just
a-
walk
you're
with
not a
me.
34.
You're at the wrong aisle, bro.
Yeah, man. So I guess a lot of, I've been trying, and I'm the worst, bro. Like I try and stay in shape. I know how important it is. Also because, I mean, we all work in the creative industry. I guess, it's incredibly mentally draining. And to keep up with that, you obviously have to be physically strong as much as possible, just so that you give your body a fighting chance, because it chows you completely. So, yeah, I try and just like be conscious of what I eat.
I love the idea of, because I know the stuff you create visually,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Photoshop and so on. You are a clinical guy, but I like the idea that your motivation is clothing. That it needs to. No, but it's. I mean it in a nice way. It's genius. You need a motivation. You need that
Something.
end thing, and that's awesome. It makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so quick question. We're going to go to highs. Did you have a good week?
I had a great week. it started off rough. It's on Monday I booked a session with my life coach, and when you like rage book, my life's falling apart. And then I had my session, and then it felt better after that.
Yeah.
So that's actually my high. As I made the decision to do inner work. I haven't done a lot of inner work, not necessarily deep sad stuff, just like picking yourself up a little bit, figuring out why you want to be here, why do you do what you do.
Yeah.
So I had a session on Tuesday, and it picked me up. It was like a pick me up.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, dude. So also a big week. You guys, we were in the studio the other day looking at that email. So it's my first time writing, producing, and directing and acting in something.
There we go. There we
actually,
go.
at least for a big brand, it's always been like
Very
smaller
nice.
stuff as we all create content. So yeah, having your name on a clapperboard,
Nice.
is a big thing. And like I say to guys, it's a weird thing for me also. And we'll talk about the origins of Mthatha and stuff. But also coming from the Eastern Cape and like coming to Josie, like I used to paint walls for a living, and then to have your name as director on a clapperboard, I was like, okay. Things are happening, man.
That's
Things
awesome.
are
Nice,
happening.
man.
So it's a nice.
I'm
nice
so proud of you,
feeling,
and I'm actually surprised that didn't happen sooner, because you always look like you're in control of things anyway, especially with a lot of the work that you do. You look like you're very much involved in every single thing,
that.
and I'm like, I'm surprised, but I'm also like, yeah, it was inevitable.
Yeah.
I mean, this should
It's
have happened
bound to
sooner.
happen.
Yeah.
I appreciate that I give the impression that I'm in control, because most of the time
we're faking it so hard.
my kids are burning the house down. It's chaos. It's chaos. But that is the life that we live, and maybe that's a good segue into a next topic, is to say, okay, cool. So we are all content creators, as such. I don't think we all plan to be here. It's a weird thing. So I'll pass it to you, Don.
Yeah.
Content creation. Growing up in an era where there was, I mean, the fanciest thing we had was that Motorola V340 or whatever.
That was still very fancy, bruh.
No, that was
Back then, I
crazy.
mean,
Yeah, the flip one. And now we live in an age where everything's on your phone.
Yes.
How have you adapted to things?
So a little bit of history then. Let's start from the beginning for anybody who's never heard the story before, who has no idea who I am. So, born and bred in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape, I've always been able to draw, always been able to kind of express myself. I've always been interested, in just kind of telling stories with various mediums, I guess. But where we come from, there are no mentors. Back then, there were no mentors. There was nobody to tell you that you could harness this and turn it into something. Yeah. I'll never forget when, I was in matric and I still had no idea what I was going to do. And we had a substitute teacher, Jason Crane. Shout out Jason Crane. I'll always give him props because one of the people that got me here today, I must be honest. Yeah. And we were doing art as an extracurricular activity because he had studied fine art, and he told me, hey man, you got an interesting way of kind of seeing things. You're not a very literal person. You always, if I tell you to draw this, you always kind of take it in a different direction, and you should consider graphic design. I'm like, bruh, I have no idea what you're talking about. So we go onto the PE Technicon website at the time. We go through portfolios, and I'm sitting there going, when you page through magazines and you see things and you like them, you're young, you've got no kind of reference, or you kind of see these things and you just like them. But in your mind, you don't think that it's somebody's job to sit and think about these things, and then a team puts it together, right? So he's explaining this whole thing to me, he's breaking it down, and I can feel this fire burning inside of me. I'm like, yeah. This might be the area that I want to go into. So I apply. I tell my parents that this is what's happening, and they're like,
We don't think so.
Wait.
The whole family's been thinking accountant, lawyer,
Dr. Goliath.
And none of those things ever appealed to me. Not one of those things spoke to me. Not one. I had no idea what I was going to do. At some point, I thought I was going to be a rapper because I used to rap Mthatha. Yeah, I was in a group called Outbreak.
What is your rap name?
Acid Rain.
I can dig it.
Your name is Acid Rain.
Rain,
I can
bro.
listen to some AR.
Yeah. No, it was hardcore, bro.
I think we're going to have to get a couple of bars before the end of the...
We might.
Public, that's what this is called. There's a call coming in. They're asking for some bars.
So I What is the point that I was making? Yeah, and I mean, I was like designing all the posters, just drawing, the pictures of the 3 characters. There were 3 of us in this group, and we'd get booked to perform at the pageants, Mr. and Miss Mtata, all these things. And we had like 2 songs, but
Big
going
teams,
hard.
yeah.
Yes, and then I'll never forget an uncle of mine. No, he's not even an uncle, like a family friend. He was quite like this very respected dude, big job, was paid a lot. And a lot of people looked up to him. And he asked me, hey, man, I was studying for biology at the time. He's like, hey, what do you want to be? So I said, no, I'm going to study graphic design. Yo, bro, this Bali burst out laughing. You know that laugh that cuts into your soul where you're like, oh, here it comes.
And you pitched it very seriously. Like,
Yeah. So then he calls my dad and he goes, please, it's not too late. Talk him out of this. You do not want your kid designing Mickey Mouse t-shirts and selling them at a flea market. Verbatim. That's exactly what he said. Bro, now I'm sitting there going, dreams crushed. But then there's a small voice inside of me that was just like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. If there's anybody I'm going to prove wrong, it's just him. And I went and I studied. I spent my first year, about 80% of my first year I was in the library, just figuring it out, because they were only choosing 20 students to move into second year. So I had to learn hard and fast. And that's where I found my biggest inspiration at the time. It's a French painter called Guy Ballou, who made very kind of witty takes on life. So, I mean, he's got many, many works. But one of the works was, you see this image, very flat, very simple, and that's why I like my style of stuff is always broken down to its purest form. You see a lawnmower in the distance. So big patch of grass, there's a lawnmower, all illustrated. And at the end of this lawn, you see a guy lifting the lawn up and then sweeping the grass under that.
I know that.
I'm sure you've seen that
popular,
image. Yeah, so he does those kinds of like weird, abstract, crazy takes on life, etc. And I just loved it so much. It really spoke to me. And then I studied art and design. Went into work in advertising, which is not something I studied for. Worked as an art director in advertising, exposed to, shooting big commercials, just given massive projects and accounts to work on. It was all quite like hard and fast. And same thing, just researching all the time, trying to figure this out. And I just got tired of, I just felt like I was on a conveyor belt at some point, because, when you lose a big client and now the business is trying to stay alive and they're like, yeah, you on the retail stuff now. We got to pump out. People have to make money. A lot of people don't know this interesting fact. Between 2005 and 2007, if you ever drove into a Total garage, the forecourt posters promoting a Powerade and a pie and a Kit Kat, that was me. Right? As
Some of your best work yet, bro.
That was me. So if you ever bought one, I made you buy it.
Picasso of retail.
Right? So as the new guy, hey, bro, you got to jump in and do this. We got to keep this account. And I was like, this is awful. I absolutely hate this. And then I left because I found stand-up comedy. Sorry, I'm telling like the whole story here, I hope. But it's going to give context, I guess, to what we're going to speak about. And I've never wanted to do comedy in my life. I just went to watch a show. I saw this guy performing and he was just telling stories about his life. I wasn't even laughing. I was just in awe. I was like, this guy is in control of all these ideas. There's no creative director. There's no account exec. Nobody's telling him what to do and how to do it and making changes. It's like raw and it's immediate. And I'm like, So I wrote my first set on just life experience, where I'm from.
How long was your first set? Like
5 minutes.
Oh, nice.
5 minutes. That's all we had. It was cool runnings at the underground. I booked it and they were like, yeah, cool, come in. This was like in July. And they were like, yeah, come in September. We've got a slot for you. I'm like, yes, okay, 2 months. Didn't practice anything before then, just writing it and running it in my head. Went, did it. It worked. Like it just worked. I got a good response. One of the comics was there, Grant Willie Wilson. He's like, hey, we do this show on Mondays in Melville. I'm not going to pay you, but come through. You'll do like 3 minutes or whatever. I'm like, yeah, fam, I'm in, Just constant, just trying stuff. And then you build more confidence and you keep writing and you go, oh, man, this is it. And then I left my job. I resigned. I was like, this is where I'm starting to feel the fear and the butterflies again.
How long was that ago?
2011.
So you're like 13 years ago. So you've still been freelance till then.
Yeah.
Never went back to full time.
No, never a full-time job. And then I freelanced. I left my job, and then we got to work on the launch. I'm not going to say the brand of a lower LSM cellular brand, and we did TV ads.
We all know.
Yeah, we did TV ads. We did a lot of that kind of stuff, and that kind of supported me.
Wow.
For about 3 months or so. So I'm like, okay, no, sharp. I need to hit it. And then we just kept performing over and over and over and over and over again. And then you get your first tiny little paying gig, and then the next one, and then the next one. But out every single night, just trying to figure this thing out, like I was in Technicon. In my first year, met Jason Goliath, met Nicholas Goliath. We started our company, and then the lockdown happens, right? And we can't perform anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, bro, one thing I can't do is sit still and do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm always, if I'm not physically working, I'm thinking, I'm seeing things, gift and a curse. But it's just how I get to my state of flow. It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
And started making content and shooting everything on my phone, trying to make high quality stuff on just what I have, and just using the skills that I've been taught, breaking things down to their purest form so that I can actually get ideas across. And I've just been at it since because I found a market, I found a niche. And for me, I look at all of these pillars, and I've always worked myself up to a point where I feel like, cool, I've done enough here. I don't need to go further than this because I'm not somebody who can focus on one thing all the time. So with what I do now, what I like about it is the unpredictable nature of it. I never know what's going to come next. I work with Netflix at the moment, and then I could get something from a food brand and then a car brand. So it's always very different, but I like that challenge because I never know, off the bat what's going to happen. I love figuring it out.
The joy is in like figuring out, okay, this has been, everyone knows the brand or the product, but how am I going to say something different?
Exactly.
That'll intrigue people, and people be like, oh, that's interesting, I'll give this thing a shot. That's also what I like about it. It's like, it's a challenge of like, okay, reinvent yourself again the whole time, find out interesting angle.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
You're always being thrown a puzzle.
Yeah.
So my question in this whole thing is, I started in a world of logistics.
Really?
Yeah. So I used to work for one of the either biggest or second biggest shipping companies in the world. I used to do stowage plans. So like my whole day consisted of deciding which container goes where.
What's their name?
Wow.
Yeah, I can say Maerskline Shipping.
We're open for sponsors.
Biggest.
We're open for sponsors.
But and it's the same thing, kind of playing in a band at the same time, and I always felt this pull to be on the creative side of things. And the guy said to me, they're like, yeah, you're a young black guy working for a Danish company. 5 years, my man, you are there, execs, printing cash. And I was like, yeah, but it just feels so predictable. It just like I could literally just do the same thing every day. And look, logistics is actually very different every day, but it just seemed way too predictable. And decided to try and pursue something more on the entertainment and artsy side of things. And people were like, you're being stupid, bro. You're being stupid. It'll never work. And then, tried it. Didn't work out so well first time round. Went back to working.
What type of, was that just music?
That was just music, yeah.
Okay.
So tried the music thing, but also didn't realize, and I don't know if content was as big then, because that would have been around about, 2003 roughly.
No, definitely not.
I think maybe Vines and stuff was starting to come out there, but didn't realize the power of what.
Are you saying 2003?
Yeah, is that right? 2013 maybe?
Yeah, I was in matric. You're younger than me. You would have been like 14 when you started making content.
To say, this man is a prodigy.
2013.
So I was like, what? Wait.
2013. That's not a strong point. But
this is why he left logistics and got into entertainment.
Sorry to everyone who didn't get their
went missing.
Sorry to everyone who didn't get their containers. Your house on its way.
You're loading 60 containers, 35 containers is what you're loading. At some point, ended up working again for a company, and that was great. And then went back to starting to make content. Same thing, out of COVID, had a bit of spare time on my hands. Got the old camera out and stuff, and again got to a point where I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But my question, or setting up the whole thing, is to say, how do you guys feel about, the whole world is telling you, like, I've got a light here on the way. They're saying, don't quit your job, bro. You got a great job. Your boss is in Cape Town. No one's breathing down your neck. You got a company car. Why would you go and risk that all to go do comedy and content and all of that thing?
I just want to say that there's no better motivator than people saying you can't do it. You just said to that uncle guy, and you were like, everyone at the work. There's nothing like, okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong. No matter what, it's like beautiful.
And
we need more people not believing in other people.
hey, you should answer this question first.
That's my point.
You should answer this question.
This question?
Yes. Yeah, you've been quiet here.
So I've been fortunate enough I've never been in a space. So Straatlig Kinders, my band started when I was a student. So I never had a day job, and I'm super fortunate. But no one said I can't do it. This is so terrible, because I knew I could do it. No, I'm an anomaly in that sense, where when the band started as a student, there was a massive music channel called MK on Kyknet. It helped to elevate my career in a sense where I can branch out to other things, because Afrikaans is very small in that sense, so I could branch out to film and TV. But I never had to have a day job and dream for something else. It was one of those lucky things. I was in a church band, and the guys asked me if I want to join their band, and we started it. And it just, obviously it was hard work, but I was lucky enough that I had to go through that like turmoil of like quitting my job and weighing up like, finances and stability. Obviously I was broke.
Sounding so privileged right now, man.
No, it's not. I was like broke so many times, but but it's terrible when people don't believe in you. It's the worst. But it's also like, if it weren't for the people that didn't believe in you, it's like Serena Williams' dad.
Yes.
How many times did he have to get a no with like, your kids can't play, or that was a race thing. But I just mean, he was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And so
what I like about that, apart from that kind of motivation, is you also then force yourself to dig deep, and be very honest with yourself and what you know and what your capabilities are. And with me, like, when I left my job, every time, I get into comedy and people told me, but you had a job in advertising. Why would you leave that? That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, even my boss at the time was just like, hey, man, we were, same thing, you were going to become and I'm like, it's just not what I wanted to do. I don't want to run a business. I don't want to manage people. I don't want to do any of those things. And then once again, like, you dig deep and you go, based on everything I've been taught, and advertising taught me so much, bro. If it wasn't for advertising and working in a big above-the-line agency like I did, so shout out to Network BBDO.
Shout out.
And Mariana O'Kelly, my mentor at the time, easily the most genius person I've ever met. And I've never met anybody so dedicated who... I mean, gosh, she made me mount her work 5,000 times because there was like a tiny corner that nobody would have noticed. But she's like, no, you would do this until it's perfect and you will get it right, because you have to respect not just the work, yourself. You spend all this time coming up with these ideas and getting excited. And then when you finally print it out and you're going to display it to the world, that's what you're going to do? Yeah. Hell no. See through this process. Everything must be spot on. Yeah. Then... when I made the decision to leave, there was nothing inside of me that went, like, I didn't second guess it at all, because I was like, based on everything I've been taught, I can go out there and figure this out. I don't need a CD or a this or a that to tell me that these ideas are valid or they're good. You're obviously going to get a lot of pushback, but you know that you can get this over the line. Yeah. Then you get it over the line. Same thing with comedy. People are like, bro, but like, you were been doing this for so long. Why would you leave? You had built up this nice bank of clients. You had built up this audience. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still just one thing, Now I get to play in multiple media. I feel like a kid again, where I can, and this is the thing with content. Like, if I feel like I want to shoot something, I'll shoot it. If I feel like it's going to be an illustration, a design, whatever it is, I can go ahead and play with that kind of stuff, But it all comes from just going, I got this. Like, I've learned enough. Yeah. I've read enough. I've watched enough. I've been taught enough. It's just now time for me to apply it. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, just jumping over the ledge, letting go, and believing in yourself, because workplaces can create a very strong safety net for you.
Yeah.
I mean, creatives, especially in the industry, I speak to a lot of my friends who are still in advertising, will struggle to leave because, what is it? Right? Are we right-brain thinkers? Creative people, right? Or
Left brain
Left brain?
creative?
Left brain, right?
Well, we don't know.
Well, I
think
don't
he's right.
know.
I think he's right.
But to switch over, that's why a lot of the guys are like, no, bro, I just want to come up with ideas. I don't want to think about managing business and tax and this and that.
Yeah.
So people stay,
Yeah.
you know?
But the whole concept of comedians. So I see us all as comedians. We're not. You did stand up. You do a little stand up, but the whole concept of what a comedian is has changed in the last 5 years because of like social media. You get people that makes funny stuff. Like we all make. Our main thing is comedy. We like make, so that's why I see ourselves as comedians. So that's what's lucky is it's the same definition of a muso. Why isn't someone like Avicii? Avicii couldn't play any instrument, but he was on that laptop. He was a Beethoven. But why isn't he? So he must be seen as a musician, just as Beethoven that smashed on the piano. So that's why the whole concept of a musician changed, because now you can make music on a laptop. A laptop is not an instrument; it's a computer. But the same with comedies. Like even though we don't make stand up, we make comedic content. And for me, like I see myself as a comedian, even though I don't stand up on stage. And your stage is your cell phone now, anyway.
And even that, you know, there's an even bigger blanket word. We're entertainers, because when you say entertainer, it doesn't matter what the format is, comedy,
or the
music,
genre,
whatever it is. You know, as long as people are getting a kick out of whatever you're putting out, you're in entertainment. And this is a very important point that you raised, because at some point, you know, when TikTok started kicking in, and you had a lot of like comedians on TikTok, well, funny people on TikTok, they were taking the comics out because those guys were now getting like corporate bookings. They're getting corporate gigs because somebody goes, "Hey, this person is funny," you know, because the audience's idea of a funny person is a funny person.
Yeah.
We, the purists, go, "Ooh, stand-up comedian."
Yeah, he did his time.
They're like, "No, bro, this person makes me laugh. What are you talking about? He's a comedian," you know?
So first of all, I just have to say I appreciate the fact that you said Beethoven smashing the piano. I think that's going down in history.
But he did play piano, didn't he?
Smash piano, Beethoven. You don't know. But even on that note with comedy, so like I'm new to the comedy scene, if we could call it that, in terms of stand up, maybe 2 years in, and I keep finding myself at gigs, and I sit around with guys who have been on the circuit for 5, 6, 10 years. And they know all the rooms. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is my fourth gig, like in the last couple of months kind of thing. And I'm just there to try and get a bit of stage time. But at the same time, I've got 4 bookings for the end of the year to do 15 to 20 minute sets. And I get a bit of imposter syndrome because I'm like, like everyone's like, you didn't do this room, you didn't do that room, you didn't do your 5 for a year. You didn't do your 10 for a year. And I'm saying, guys, but I didn't need it though, because
time changed, culture changed.
Yeah, because people are booking via socials. And so I think that's again, it's a sign of the times that people need to embrace technology, man. Like if you're sitting there hating on AI, you're gonna get left behind, man. It's super sucky that AI can write nice copy and stuff now. But if you can get ahead of it and understand how to use it, same way as we're using Instagram, and I'm saying all the big bookers, all the people that are event organizers, if they're following you on socials, the chance of you being the next MC or comedic act or entertainer at a big gig is astronomical versus, and I'm not saying don't go do small rooms, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying your traction online is...
Yeah, you have to adapt with the times. Like it's adapt or die. Like staying relevant, that's been my biggest challenge. Because I do a lot of things. Like, do I do music? Do I do films? So you still have to do good. No matter what you do, it has to be good, and you have to stay relevant. Otherwise, you're just going to be the guy that made something cool 15 years ago and ride of that name. So staying relevant is important, bro.
But it is. I mean, you're spot on with that. And I think across the board, being a purist, in this day and age, my thing is you can't be a purist and go, but why is nobody, nobody's seeing my stuff, nobody's booking me. I'm like, because nobody's looking up, they're looking down. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not playing...
That's power right there, man.
You know, and
Pass
bars.
the
You see,
Goliath.
there's the bars for you now. That you wanted. But and if you're not playing in that space, you're right. You are going to get left behind. I think what gets a lot of people confused is, cool. If I'm going to be on this based on the things that are trending, they want me to do that.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to dance. You don't need to do what these people are doing. If anything, we are so exhausted now. It's so saturated with people, you know, trying every single trend. The one who stands out is the one who always goes left.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep knocking away at that thing that you're going left at. Eventually, you will reach your audience, and you will reach, you know, the people that that go on your journey with you. You know, there's a great Kevin Kelly has a great analogy, especially for entertainers online, and the idea of embracing social media and not being afraid. You know, and obviously assuming that in order to be successful, because it's a metric system, you need 100,000, 250,000 followers. Oh yeah, this guy must be good, you know.
Yeah.
But he's just like, no, you can have 250,000 people, but if you put a link out for people to buy tickets and only 10 people buy those tickets,
The engagement.
ooh, yeah.
What's
So
happening?
his analogy is what you need is to create 1,000 true fans,
Yeah.
because 1,000 is an achievable number. If you say to somebody, you think you can build like 1,000 people, and you're like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. And 1,000 true fans, a true fan is somebody who is going to subscribe to your newsletter, who's going to come to every show, they're going to buy your merch, they're going to tell their friends about it, they're going to be your loudest hype man, you know? And then when you do the math, you go, if 1,000 people spend 100 Rand on you, you just made 100 grand. You know what I'm saying? It's simple, but in our minds, we're trained to think, oh, it's the bigger number. But that's so
People
difficult
also
to
think
get to.
like fame and influence is the same thing. There's hella famous people that's got no influence in my life, or just no influence in the world. But then there's people with 5 followers, whatever, and then the impact they make in your personal life, whatever. So I think a lot of people get stuck in that. I think the problem with TikTok is like you get these kids that's got like millions of followers, but if you don't turn that into something, not a company necessarily, but if TikTok should shut down today, like how many people would be out of a job, or just because of the concept of influencing became a job now.
So maybe let's segue from there is to say, okay, there's so many different conversations happening at the moment. We've just come off the back of elections, GNU's in its early days. We're trying to figure out how that's going to work and whether it's going to be exciting or not. We kind of, as the jesters of modern society, we are the guys who in our first ever interview, we're talking about, we're saying we hold a mirror to society and say, hey, look at yourselves, look at what you're doing. How do you feel about where SA is, first of all, and how do you feel about your responsibility to portray? Is it positive messaging, keeping people laughing? Because that's quite a responsibility, I think.
This is always a controversial question because with so much happening in the world at the moment, so much negativity, and sometimes I get this feeling as well where I'm like, hey man, there's just like so much, the world just feels like it's going to explode tomorrow. It just always feels like there's this negative pressure all the time, you know? And I'm like, what I'm doing just is incredibly insignificant. It's not moving the needle forward in terms of we're changing the world, right? From, I guess, society's perspective of what you need to be doing to change the world. But then you start getting comments like, man, I mean, give you an example. During COVID, my wife and I started making a lot of content, and it was, early days. People were very confused. They had no idea what was happening. Like, it was quite a scary time. It was a dark time. Then you get comments from people going, oh, guys, this was so great. You made me forget that the world is dying, basically, for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, you just took me out of that. And I'm like, I'm gonna take it. That's a small win just for me. That and there's a Jim Carrey has this quote where he defines what he does, because when you think of Jim Carrey, you go, oh, he's a comedian. You basically sum his entire life and his work up in one word, and he goes, no, my job is to free people from concern. And when you hear that, you go, okay, I like that. So you do play a very small role in changing how people feel about their day, about whatever's happening in the world, even just for a little bit. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, you show up, that's your service. And I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything.
But like that thing you designed when William Smith, William
Yes,
Smith? Yeah.
yes.
Did you see the thing he designed?
No.
For William Smith had passed away recently, the maths teacher. So so everyone was paying condolences because he's like a national treasure. But Don's design was like a math equation spelling out his name.
Oh, I did see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude, that thing went viral on Twitter, bro. It was incredible. But I mean, that stuff touches people.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget when Nando's, thank you for the sponsor, Nando's. What's his name? Joseph Sabalala from
Yes.
Lady Smith, Black Mambazo passed away. Because Homeless is like my favorite South African song. And when he passed away, Nando's made a post that just said, it said homeless, but the list part was scratched out, so it was home.
Oh,
Yes, dude. And I started crying over a design. Because the song means a lot, and I was like, "Oh, he's finally home. It's beautiful." But I mean, that stuff it affects people.
it's the relatability, and that's what I love about taking something very complex. I mean, you know, in the William Smith case, you know, we all know him. If you grew up watching William Smith, you know him for, because I did a second post where it was just a hand emoji that had stained fingers. So we all, this guy's hands, bro. Exactly, you know. So once you hit that responsibility, that relatability, and it connects with people, it's like comedy. It's the exact same thing. You tell a story that resonates with somebody, they go, "Oh man, I thought it was just me," you know. But you find that sweet spot where people go, he took and it just, the equation, you know, worked out beautifully. And I think people love to see that come together. And it was out of respect and not trying to be too clever. It's just, it was all there. It was there. It is. It's right there for us, you know.
But you saw it differently, dude. That's incredible.
Yeah,
But that's because you told that your teacher was like, he always had a left field angle.
Yeah,
You got
like
taught
how
that.
do you take what people see generally in the world and just find a different way to communicate it? And I always try and stay in that band, you know, where a lot of the stuff I do, a lot of the stuff I speak about even, I've got a 10-minute joke about chappies, for example, you know, where I break down little core things where you're like, how did he get there? You know, but I'm always trying to find those things so that I don't have to set up a story to make you seed that, make you understand it first. Like, we are in this world, but what if we looked at it this way, you know? And that's always how I love to approach it.
So I'm going to interject about the chappies thing. Am I the only one that feels like chappies are short-lived now? Like, it's a 10-second chew.
Yeah.
Did they change the recipe?
I don't know what they did, but like chappies for me as a kid, I was like, hey, chappies for sure,
Yeah.
all day. Now I'm
Maybe as a kid we just chewed it longer. We didn't care about the flavor.
no, as kids, we had gobstoppers. I mean, that as a concept already is terrible.
Yeah.
You get a big block of candy, you lick it, put it in your pocket, you show your friend what
how
color it's
disgusting. I
changed
remember.
to. Sorry, complete segue. Back to what we're saying. Back to your regular programming.
No, I to your question, I don't feel the responsibility to make content to kind of like, there's not like a burden, we need to make. But what I do feel is we're super privileged to have a different viewpoint on things. So, and it's such a gift. So my favorite content creators, when I see this stuff, it's just like, oh, thanks for making this. It's so fun or funny.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like that. It's like, hey, check my view on this.
Yeah.
And just like sharing it. There's not like responsibility.
But
like,
it's true what you guys said. Like, even having that 1,000 people, and I've had one or two people like inbox me and they say, we're probably one of the like craziest messages I've gotten. One lady inboxed me and she said, I haven't laughed since my sister died last year. Like, I laughed at your video. And I'm like,
pressure.
but I'm like, every time you put out a video, and maybe that's even the next thing is to say, how do you feel the pressure of having to keep performing? But like, now I'm like, if I put out a video and even 2 people, imagine it only got 2 views.
Yeah.
I'm like, if those 2 people enjoyed what they saw, like it's completely worth it, man.
Yes.
And I think I'm privileged to live in a world where I know what my worth is outside of social media and the internet and stuff. I've got great friends, family is amazing. My self-worth isn't attached to my online persona per
Sure.
se. So if the internet had to go away tomorrow, I've got a cool life, man. I don't know about how, sort of modern kids, because their entire self-worth is attached to
Yeah, because you grow up
likes
with a
and
cell
stuff.
phone
Yeah.
and you blow up when you're 16, you got 1 million followers.
Yeah.
I did a music video once where everyone was like 16 or something, and they all had like 1.5 million followers. And I've never heard of these kids. And I'm
What?
like, how does that feel? The insecurity that comes with, oh, this video didn't go viral, or the bullying, or the I need to look a certain way. Even, I mean, I'm 40 now, and it's still
You're 40.
exactly, but I'm looking 22.
I'm 41, dog.
It affects you even now at this
Yeah.
age. But like being a teenager now with social media, how whack
Do
was that?
you guys feel? Do you guys feel the if you post something and you don't get like the max likes? Do you guys feel it, or do you just move on?
For me, I've stopped looking at it that way.
Yeah.
I don't go, oh, this didn't get the likes I wanted.
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, oh, this obviously didn't resonate
Yeah.
the way I wanted it to. And sometimes I delete it and rework it
Okay.
and put it back out again.
Oh, nice.
I put it back out to see. And that's from comedy. You see, with comedy, you put a gag out, you think, they're going to love this one. And then it dies, You don't throw it away. You're going to go and try it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because maybe the room wasn't right
Yeah,
that you tested it in. Maybe the audience wasn't right. Maybe your setup wasn't right. There are a lot of dynamics to that thing. So a lot of times I've taken something started off one way and then you're in a hurry to put it out, because that's my thing. I'm always trying to, especially if I'm doing something reactive, I'm always trying to be out the gate first.
Yeah.
It's personal pressure on me, because otherwise, if I go, I'll wait, for tomorrow or whatever, apart from the trend or whatever they're speaking about dying down, I overthink it.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
this. Cool, you got 1 hour, go for the strongest one, go for the one that you believe in. So I trick my brain that way. But I put something out and then I go, I should have given it maybe 30 more minutes and just really thought about this and fleshed it out. And
But sometimes it's also the algorithm. We've spoken about it. Where you drop a video and it's like, it's the stupidest thing ever. Then it gets a lot of views. Then you try like a draft two or a second version of this. You post at the same time. It's like, is TikTok down?
Yeah.
No one's
the
watching this
worst, eh?
video.
Where was everyone when I posted
Yeah.
this? But I think it's the power of that simplicity, like we've spoken about now, and saying, don't overthink things.
No.
Don't overthink things. I'm much the same. I'm like, if I'm like, oh, I want to make a video about this thing, I have to do it within the next 2 days. I can't even process anything else. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to make that video ASAP. And same thing, because then I'm sitting there after 3 days going, this would be a funnier joke, that would be a funnier line, whatever. And then you've over-engineered it. And like I use that Huak Twa girl as an example. I'm like, here we are crafting, like I'm doing this David Attenborough using high English,
She just
like
made it.
finding things.
Yeah.
She went Huak Twa. Everyone knows her.
But the thing is, that camera guy needs to get a cut on the deal. Because
I think so.
If he wasn't there, they would have seen that.
Let me ask you guys this. What's your process? Do you kind of, do your day-to-day, and when the idea sparks, you go, oh, I got to write this, or do you sit down and map out ideas?
You're great with that. You sent me like 2 A4 pages with like 50 ideas once. I'm like, yes, dude, these are insane.
Yeah, like I think the thing is, and it's a difficult point that we're in at the moment, is that we're paid and we're driven to keep making content and that sort of thing. And originally, like my ideas and stuff were born out of boredom. We touch the COVID thing again. It's from staring at my wall and going, oh, that's actually a funny idea. So now, because everything is paid for and it's driven by a business sense, I don't have that time to say, okay, cool, let me go and stand in a park for an hour and just imagine things. You're kind of constantly busy. So I first of all need to start making time to just stand around and that. But ideas come in the strangest of places. I'm driving down the road, I see something, I'm like, that would be such a cool idea. But again, it's always leveraging the simplicity of life and also pain points. It's that comedy, tragedy, fine line. So it's pain points and
Pain point. What does that mean?
So like a struggle, so like
Well, pain. Well, okay. Well.
So yeah, like if
Not an
Like load shedding,
ATM,
like
not a
stuff-
paying point.
not a paying point of sale.
The POS.
But yeah, so that's essentially it. I do sit down and write sometimes, but I mean that I could sit down and schedule 6 hours to write and come up with nothing, and I could be walking down the road, see a dog take a poop, and go. "Oh my
Do you
goodness."
guys ever get insecure about something? So for me, it's like I got an idea, then I do it, then I think it's gonna be no one's gonna like this, then I post it, and then it doesn't do well. Then you get so insecure, like, oh, maybe I lost it.
Yeah,
maybe
it's done. The
that,
juice is
maybe
over.
I'm not funny anymore. That happens so much.
My process, and it's something I learned from a creator I love, and it's just to keep order in my brain. Every single day, I put down 10 blocks. I'll pick a random thing. Random. Sneakers. That's the word. I write that word on the page. I make 10 blocks, and I go, cool, you got 30 minutes. Come up with 10 ideas for sneakers. And I just go with it. Bam, 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 bam. By the time I get to the 6th one, 7, 8, 9, 10 are, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
This is cool. I'm in my zone. And then when I get to 10, I go back to 1. And then I flesh 1 out a little bit. And then I start to make asterisks next to, it's often like 3. I pull 3 out and I move them to the next page and I go, cool, let me flesh these out. And then I break that down to, cool, this is the one I'm making.
Yeah.
Every day.
What?
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
some science.
And you got the second child coming.
yeah.
I have to. You know
Fuck.
why I do that is because I have to have a bank of stuff. I
What
get
time do you get up though? Like
5.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
Part of
5,
that club.
4:30 sometimes. I'd like that quiet time. I like
Yeah.
that when the world is still, rising. People are still. I love that. That's my. I've always been an early riser, but I like to prep in that time, and I may or may not make it on the day, but. At least, so what I do is if I've got those ideas, I put them in the back of my head. And while I'm doing something else, I'm figuring it out and breaking it down, going, I could shoot it like this. I could do that. I could do that. Cool. So it's not starting from scratch on the fly.
Yeah.
I used to be on the fly where you're driving and you see things, but it's so weird. Like I don't look like that anymore. I've had to train my brain to. When I was still in comedy, that was the thing. You're always trying to find a gag somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's a gift and a curse because you can never shut down.
Yeah.
So I force myself to come up with stuff. Bro, you must see, I'll show you, I'll send you a pic of just like blocks and blocks of things.
That is
Random
insane.
things that are, I pull out old books and I'm like, why did I make this? Because there are things that I could do now, that are funny now, that I know how to execute them.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot, and sometimes like a lot of weird things I make. I made a little rotisserie, a thing you saw that
Oh, dude,
over
it was so funny.
a hubbly bubbly, like a tiny piece of meat that
Little
these guys
steaky.
fry.
Little ribeye.
And that came from, I wrote down, because I was like, at one point I was driving, I'm like, why does every place now offer hubbly? Like there's hubbly everywhere. And then I woke up one morning, I wrote the word hubbly, and I'm like, jotting things down. I'm like, what does it have? Cool. Water, yes. Because the first idea I had was I wanted to make something that blows actual bubbles, right? So I asked a friend of mine who's an engineer, can we reverse engineer this thing if I put bubble solution in it? And when you blow, it comes out on the
great.
other side. So he was just like, And then he starts sending me these schematics going, you see. Then I'm like,
beautiful
damn,
mind.
this is
Airflow.
getting, yeah. And then the bride thing came, and I'm like, there's coal bride. What if we made
So like
put it out very, very
Little
quickly.
bride day vibe.
Yeah, shout out to my homies at Custom Barber. I went to cut my hair, and they were like, hey, yeah, we can do this thing.
no way, dude. Thanks for the sponsorship, guys.
Done. Yeah, if you want a great haircut, if you want like your fade to be as fresh as hell, this is the ad right
Can
now.
we ask for the acid
Custom
rain
barber.
fade?
Ooh, the acid. They don't know. They don't know about acid rain.
No one knows.
So for those of you guys who don't know, in the previous life, the man over here used to be a rapper, he says, by the name Acid Rain.
What's your favorite thing about fatherhood?
My daughter makes me laugh every single day.
Yeah.
What I miss is being a child and having fun and playing, right? We get so caught up in the world and it's so serious. And then, hanging out with my daughter, she just makes me feel like, man, actually, with all this drama happening in the world, this is it. This is all that matters,
And,
it's beautiful.
overthinking things are also like so first of all we have to acknowledge that there's 3 daddy daughters here.
Hey,
represent.
So we're gonna have to I don't know if there's a shotgun special anywhere we somewhere by the same time. But so I'm driving with my son the other day, and he asked me, Dad, what happens when you yawn? And so I'm like, okay, now I need to explain to a 3-year-old what biologically happens, and lack of oxygen and da. So I break it down nicely for him. I'm like, well, what happens is your brain doesn't have enough oxygen, so you yawn, so you can get lots of air in your thing, in your lungs, and whatever. So he's like, okay, super unimpressed. We pick my wife up like a minute and a half later. She gets in the car, and he asks her the same question. And I'm a bit offended because I'm like, bro, I gave you a proper.
I mean, that's what happens.
Dad's given you the laydown, man.
Private school, bro. You better listen.
And my wife just said, she's like, no, you just put your hand over your mouth when you're yawning. And I'm like, that's what he was asking. Dude wasn't asking about the whole like biological thing. He just wanted to know what the proper etiquette was for when you're yawning. And first of all, it's weird for a child to even, it's weird to wonder about stuff like that.
Yes.
But the things that are going on in their minds is incredible. And just saying, like, again, simplicity of life. Guys, we need to stop overcomplicating things.
And it's strange that you mentioned that. We went to visit family. They were flying back out of the country, and we were at their hotel, and we're having breakfast outside. And the hotel's facade is all like highly reflective tinted glass, basically, right? So we're sitting and we're eating, and we hear this loud bang. Pah! I look up, and this bird thought it was and flew into this thing, and then just like tumbled, not even tumbled, just like spun, landed on the floor. So my daughter sees this as well. She's like, what happened? So I'm like, no, nothing, the bird. I said, no, I want to go and see it. Okay. So we walk, and
she's 2, yeah?
She's 3. She's 3. So it's on its back, and it's like kicking. She's like, why is it doing that? No, it's just, it hurt itself. And then this thing just like, you can see the last breath, and it closes its eyes. So then I go, oh, look, it's sleeping. She goes, no, it's dead.
Don't lie to me, Dad.
Right.
Don't lie to me, Dad.
It's dead. And then it made me realize, my daughter, I don't know if I'm raising a psychopath or a genius.
Yeah.
Will rewind the Mufasa scene in Lion King.
Oh, no way.
Play that scene again. I want to see where I'm like, I don't want to watch that scene.
Yeah.
No. We can leave that scene on. That one's fine. And I'm like, yeah. You just never know where you stand and how you navigate this thing, Fascinating.
There's a Mufasa and Scar movie coming out. Did you check that? Is their story?
Like the backstory.
Dude,
yes.
It's dropping now. There's a trailer out already.
Yes.
It's their story. Yeah. I don't know how that can end happy, the whole film. But it's going to go, because they hate each other.
I can read it already. Scar, it's the whole fallen angel thing. Scar started out, he was a chill dude.
Yeah.
Like a... Mufasa got the promotion. Scar got bleak about it.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's gonna be.
Somebody made an interesting point once, and they were like, "Why does Scar sound like a professor at Cambridge University? Why does he have the proper?"
Oh, you're right.
Why?
That is so funny.
That was today. Oh, I must have missed it.
Yeah,
yes,
he sounds so nice. He
I
actually
must have
sounds
missed
nice.
it.
He sounds
But the
sophisticated.
British accent, why?
Yeah.
That's the original one. I don't know the new one.
But even Zazu was also very, very, very British.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Interesting
You know what's so
observation.
interesting when you watch Ferdinand, Nemo.
Bull.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are a lot of them, and you go, that story arc is not Nemo. The story arc is Lion King. It's the little. Ferdinand is like, that is it. Exactly.
Copy and paste.
Exactly. The bull, the dad is the
But there's only like 5 stories. You know the theory. Like, there's only 5 stories.
Really?
In the world, yeah.
It's like there's just 5. But anyway,
That just rotate.
But the whole accent thing, like, why? It's technically so not inappropriate. There's no African accents in Lion King.
Yeah.
And the whole thing plays off in Africa.
Yeah, but I think that's a big thing. And we talk about it like in the voiceover industry, a lot of audiobooks and stuff, a lot of literature written from an African perspective, but there's only ever been American voiceover artists who do this stuff. So, I mean, even name pronunciation, this is
Karabo.
Mwabile. And it's Kwabile, or like, I don't know.
And they'll tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not the right accent, bro.
Come to somebody else's house and tell them that they're wrong. Okay, cool. So we gotta wrap it up. But
One last question.
Yes.
One last question. I promise.
No, I was saying we're wrapping up into the last segment.
This is not a serious question. So
It feels like
I
it's
thought
gonna be
about it. I
serious.
thought about it this morning. Why is it? When you come late, what do you call it? When you're late to a meeting?
Yeah.
It's
Fashionably.
it's not rude. No, but it's
Disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly. So why is it? So my question is this: is it also disrespectful when you come early for a meeting? Because I booked you. So say I like see you at 10 and you're there 10 to 10. You're disrespecting yourself.
No. I think it's
Interesting.
fine to be early, but don't come in. Sit in the car. Like,
Yes.
don't arrive early and then
make me feel bad
then
for being on
look at
time.
me through the door and be like,
Yeah, and be like,
Chief,
hey,
I told you 10.
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I just think we should be harder on people that's early. I told you 10. Why are you at 10 to
Most
10?
controversial opinion ever.
Yeah, now that's why, I asked him, I'm like, hey, Barack, what time can I get here exactly? Because I'm a
But you were here at 10 to 10.
Punctual.
You were on fire.
12:50. Well, it was 11:50. 12:50,
12:50,
yeah. So I was standing there on that top step. I'm like, 49. No, hey guys, what's up?
No, my question has got nothing to do with you, I promise. No, I just thought, like, why isn't it rude?
Okay, so last thing. South Africans in time. This is always a big debate. We've all travelled extensively. How often you're at the airport and you see someone running like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. No, we're leaving you behind because you came late.
Yes.
South Africans in time. Is it a case of like culturally, guys, we just African time and that's a thing? Or do you think there's a level of disrespect and we need to actually work
Are you talking
on
about black
ourselves?
people or are you talking about South Africans?
No, South Africans. I use that word specifically.
You know what? Very quick story.
We're going to get cancelled. Episode 2, thank you guys.
Very quick story. We went to perform in Nelspruit once, right? Myself, Jason, Nicholas, Goliath, and Goliath. There were 6 dudes there, right? So we get booked to go perform in Nelspruit. Get there, beautiful theater. Chat to the guy. Hey, what's ticket sales looking like? Bro, great. We're like 70% full. It's about 650 or whatever. I can't even remember the size of it, right? So we're like, great. Did our sound check. We go back to the hotel. We get ready. We come back. It's still very quiet when we walk in. We're like, oh, okay, cool. Chilling backstage, waiting. And it's now, we're starting at 8. So it's like 20 to 8. We come outside, because the MC needs to know now when he's going to start making his announcement so he can start, he just wants to see who's here. Comes outside, checks, still very empty, goes to the front there, hey, have people arrived? No, not yet. They'll come, don't worry. Nelspruit it's not massive, and where we are right now, people are close. Sharp. So we wait. 8 o'clock, bro, and we're still like, yay. Now you go outside, there's like 4 people sitting, very scattered. And we're like, what's going on, Are we competing? Is there another thing happening that we don't know about? Hey, 8:15, and there's only about maybe 40, 50 people in the room. And we're like, well, maybe people aren't coming. We're going to kind of start the show. Yeah. MC goes on, and he's just like going on. Because we're like, okay, cool, go to like 8:30. Let's see what happens. Goes to like 8:30, and he kind of looks back. He's like, I'm going to bring, there's maybe 60 or 70 people now in the room. Let's just start the show. He moves everyone forward. That's it. The show now starts. Hey, guys go on. They're performing. But every like 15 or 20 minutes, 2 people walk in for like they're late, The show ends at about after 10, maybe, 10:30. And we're like, yeah, cool, this is it. But there's people that come in, they're making a noise going, they were late. They were like, no, you guys have to keep going. I'm like, no, we're done, Bruh, we walk outside. It's packed with people chilling by their cars, drinking, music's playing, they're doing their thing. And we're like, what's going on? They see us, they're like, hey, what's up? What time's the show starting? We're like... No, the show is. Then we're like, no, but guys, why are you? We're chatting to some guys. Why are you guys outside? And they're like, yeah, we're here for the show. What do you mean you're here for the show? Yeah, the show, like nothing ever runs on time here.
Yeah.
And in our minds, we just assume that there'll be whatever other performers up front. There'll be DJs. We don't want to see that. We just want to see you guys. And we assumed, because normally things start about 10, 10:30.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, that's okay, cool. Can you go? No, we're not going back to start the show, bro. We're done. So they all had to be refunded. And I'm just like, they were just like, I don't understand why you guys are so punctual.
You guys are
Why
better-
did you
better
start
people
on
than-
time?
Yeah.
Is basically what they
That's
were saying to
funny.
us.
So you said you're starting at 7. You started at 7.
Yo, why?
Why would you start at 7?
Why would you be on time?
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
So on that note, and closing off, look, I think all of us are multi-talented.
Yes.
Got lots of things on the go. What are you working on? What's coming up for Donovan in the near future, other than another kid?
I hate this question because I
You
can.
asked it.
I can never
Delete it.
answer.
We just-
No, I can never answer this question. I can never tell you exactly what I'm going to be working on. I'm still doing a lot of amazing stuff for Netflix. I mean, if you want to sponsor this,
Shout
amazing
out
podcast,
Netflix. Thanks for the
shout out
sponsor.
Netflix.
Free subscription.
But I am constantly putting a lot of stuff out there and building, I guess, a bank of things for people to kind of view and go, I'd like some of that. I would like this. I would like that. But I do want to start creating interesting merch, perhaps, but not traditional, just, let's slap a slogan or a logo on a t-shirt. None of that. Just like really start playing with it. I want to start making things like physical products and things like that now, and just exploring, a lot of the things that I procrastinated on and put aside when I was doing comedy, I'm going through all of that and going, what are the things that I thought about that I always wanted to make but I put aside because I didn't have time, etc. That's what I'm going to be doing. So I can't tell you exactly what that thing is, but just follow me at Donovan Goliath. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
Can't wait for that that comeback single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would your potential merch name be?
Oh, brah, I don't know. I've got no idea yet.
Just done.
But I think there would be a market for because your stuff's always clinical, but you're also funny and you got not everything's necessarily funny, but there's a freaking smartness to it, and I think there's room for a slick, suave, like a lit fit that's got a cool little saying, or that William Smith shirt. If that was a shirt, dude, that'd be a freaking cult classic.
I came up with this idea to do a system is offline range,
Nice.
and you can only order it online. But the website is always down, so you can't actually order it. That was part of the whole concept of it.
That is awesome.
But strange that you mentioned that. It's the most difficult thing, trying to name something, a band or whatever it is. But the one thing that I've always, I always told myself, if I ever started, whatever, a label, a studio or whatever, I would always call it 119. And the significance of that is I grew up in a block of flats in Mthatha, and that was the number, and that number always stuck with me, and it'll never leave me at all, and the flats were color coded, so that we stayed right at the bottom level, and that was blue, and then the next level up top was orange and then red. So there's something about blue. So if you ever see blue, it's because I'm thinking back to that time. And I've been playing with blue quite a bit because it's just reminiscent. I'm trying to go back to things that really embedded and welded themselves into my brain and bring that into my life now so that it stays with me forever.
Nice.
So 119.
119, I like it. We'll order some merch. Just click on the link, you get some 199 merch.
Done.
119, sorry. Thanks, Donovan.
Thank you so much.
We love
guys.
you, dude. You're super inspiring to us. Thanks for sharing your gift of comedy and just your awesome art that you create.
Thank you,
and
brother.
making South Africa a better place.
Yeah, and thank you for being extremely punctual. We
This
appreciate
is
Thanks for being
what
early.
it is. And then I'm looking at the time now. I'm like, damn it, we're 3 minutes over time. This isn't like me. This is just not right.
to your next appointment. But yeah, on
No,
that
no,
note-
no, we're good. But thank you guys. I think hosts of a podcast always thank the people for being there. But I'm going to take this time now to also thank you guys for just being such a good representation of the country. And I don't mean black, white. Okay. I mean such a wholesomeness. It's always positive. It's always easy. You know, you don't try too hard to just get everybody together. It's all about friends. It's all about community. It's all about being wholesome. It's all about moving together, moving forward as a team. And it's so effortless for the two of you. So when I said it's an honor to be on this podcast is because I know when you're in a room, you feel a great sense of light and a great sense of positive reinforcement here. You leave this room going, man, I was with those guys. Those guys don't try too hard to be cool. They just are cool. And that's what's really great about the two of you. So I'm really glad that you started this. And I think anybody who jumps onto this podcast is going to feel the exact same way.
Thanks, Donovan. Appreciate it. That's it. Episode 2. Cheers.
Catch you on the next one.